Hey guys, today's going to be a paranormal analysis video. This is going to be analysing last week's paranormal experiment video, the object placement test, in which I used a plastic mixing bowl and asked the spirits to move it. Now, I've been over and over that video and I know a lot of you guys have done the same. I've been through the comments, and to be honest, as far as analysing it goes, there's only so much you can really say about it. So what I've done is I've kind of broke it down into the three main chunks, and then I've got a couple of things that I want to discuss afterwards. So jumping in with the first thing, then you've got the EVPs. So as I said before, there's only so much you can really say about these EVPs because at the end of the day, they're inaudible. Like, there's very little in there that sounds like words. Like, there's no word I could use to piece it together. If I was to put a translation on, it would be entirely guesswork. And I mean, you could pretty much make anything fit it because it does follow like the rhythmic patterns of a sentence or some kind of phrase. But like I say, there's just no tangible word. So it wouldn't be worth me giving you a translation on them. It does beg the question though as to why I'm capturing so many of these lately, because my previous theory was that it was all to do with energy. Like if the spirit was using its energy elsewhere or it didn't have the energy available to speak, then it kind of comes through like that scratching sound. But I had the EM pump and 2 plasma lamps going with the sole purpose of giving the spirits energy to move the bowl. Now, the only thing I could think of would be that they were maybe focusing their energy on moving the bowl, as the bowl did move, and so they didn't focus their energy on trying to project the voice, or it's absolutely nothing to do with energy, and maybe it's literally just a scratching sound, like maybe they've touched the actual EVP recorder and that's what that sound is, as opposed to it actually being a voice. It could just be a noise. And so that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know which one to really go with, so if you guys have any input on that, I would love to hear it. Please do let me know. And then moving on to the next thing, then you have the knocking and the footsteps outside. I really don't know if that's picking up. Hello? So you can see all the way through the clip that I'm obviously concerned that those footsteps weren't being picked up on camera, and you can actually see, I actually look at the monitor at one point because it's got little audio markers on it, and they bounce up when you speak, and they weren't spiking at the footsteps when I was hearing them. Now I could hear them as clear as day, but I mean I could tell that they were muffled because they were like upstairs, and so I was just a little concerned that the camera wouldn't pick them up, because that wouldn't add any kind of validation if I was just reacting to nothing. And so I ended up going out to investigate, wondering, if somebody had just come in and they weren't saying anything because they knew I was filming and just kind of didn't want to ruin it. And that happens. Sometimes they don't realize they've made any noise, when they've walked in. And so I left the room, and looking back at it, that was a mistake. Obviously, I realized that I shouldn't have left the camera. The first time I looked out, I thought I'd kept my leg in shot, just to show that I haven't left. I've not gone anywhere. I've not done anything funny. But that second time, for whatever reason, my mind just went blank, and I left the shot and went into the living room. And all that did was just encourage give the skeptics more reason to doubt on the video. Even though I was on camera when the ball moved, it's not enough, you know what I mean? So I do regret that. As far as the footsteps go, there was nobody else in the house, so something was there. I do think it's interesting that after I left the room and I said, follow me in, you can help me with this experiment, that the ball did actually move. So maybe it's possible that whatever spirit was present had left the room, or maybe another one came in and it was that spirit that moved the ball. But I do find that kind of interesting. So that brings me on to the next point, and that is the actual ball moving. Now, at the risk of analysing the obvious, that mixing bowl did move, and it moved in front of my face. Yeah, first time it was out the corner of my eye, but when I turned to it, it did shift right in front of me. And it's really hard to explain how that feels when you actually see something move in front of you. And I mean, you can see it on my face. I just kind of pull this look. I'm shocked, I'm surprised, and like, I don't think that will ever go away because, as I've said before, it's not a common occurrence that something moves in front of me. I think the last time that happened was the object placement tests in the last house. Like things have moved since, but I've never been there when it happens. You know what I mean? It always happens like off camera or while I'm in another room or something like that. And so, yeah, I don't think that surprise and that excitement level will ever really go away. I do think, as far as the ball moving is concerned, that it is interesting that it only happened once I encouraged the spirits from outside the kitchen to come in. I definitely think there was probably more than one spirit involved. I think maybe the first spirit was the one that was giving those EVPs, maybe didn't have the energy alone, couldn't do it. And then when I encouraged the second spirit in, maybe they had the energy, or maybe together they mustered the energy to actually shift the ball. I'm not sure, I'm just kind of theorizing, but I do think there was probably more than one spirit involved. And so as far as this analysis goes, guys, that's pretty much it. So thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please do leave your comments, let me know what you think, and as always, I'll post any and all activity as and when I get it.